Hello everyone and welcome back to Sky Factory 3, now on to episode 7. And last time we built this monstrosity. Did a mild change to it. I've added a double layer capacitor from Ender.io to the first sag mill. This basically just increases the speed that it goes at, as well as the energy it can store, but also means it costs more energy. So it takes 60 RF rather than the 20 RF that this one takes. As such, put another magmatic generator down. This just means that it gets enough gravel and sand to actually go through. Really, this wants a double, and then this will want the 8 times layer. So at that point, it'll be fast enough that it will backfill everything in here. Also added 2 diamond hammers to this after I got like 10 diamonds from this sifting in like the space of a couple of minutes, so figured it was perfectly fine to use that on there to make the dust actually start to build up from there. Did find that the lava was not quite keeping up, so I did have to go and improve to the next multiplier, which involved getting netherrack and lighting that on fire. To get netherrack, just as a thing for those watching, you can put a lava bucket into a stone barrel, which is made just the same way as the wooden barrels earlier. Helps if you don't have the water above it. Let's go over to this one. And you put it in there, and then just drop redstone on it. So the other feature that the stone barrels do is being able to make obsidian, which you just want water above it. If you place the source block by shift clicking on the top of the barrel, it will stay above it. I just put these slabs to stop the water flowing everywhere and knocking all my torches off. So that helps you get netherrack, which, as you can see here, provides a 4 times multiplier on the speed rather than lava, which is 3. So it's just very slightly faster, and means that these now keep up very nicely with the magma generators. It can probably also take one more generator there, which would be good because I will need that if I put the octadic capacitor in there, and then I'll need another one for the double layer, and hopefully that will be fine. I won't need another set of crucibles for that. So what we want to get on to today is making some soul sand. This is necessary to get quartz, and the reason we use a 3x3 when we're only using one barrel is because the speed of the transfer of water into witch water depends on how many blocks of mycelium there are around it. Also note that it will grow mushrooms for you at the same time, so that can be very useful. Mycelium will spread, but I want this to start transferring quicker, and ancient spores are only useful for this. So you can see already it's going much faster. We'll then drop sand into the barrel, get soul sand out of that, and then we sift that to get quartz. Quartz is the big thing we need for getting our next step in the storage, as it's used in the making of the draw controller. You need it for the what are they called? Comparators. So you need them there, unfortunately. So we need 2 pieces for our first draw controller. We're also probably going to want controller slaves, and these again also require 2. So we'll need a few bits there. So there's our witch water, and to place our sand in to get soul sand. Simple as that. We will be automating this in a little while, but we need quartz to automate it, annoyingly, as we'll need fused quartz to make reservoirs and the end-of-IO fluid pipes to pipe the liquid into the bowels. We also want the fluid pipes for our system over here where we're going to have the smelteries. I've started making all of the grout needed for it. It's going to be an awful lot, as we need 7 smelteries, I think it is. Yeah, seven smelteries. While we could double up on them, it gets messy when you're taking the metals out. It's just much easier to have just a single smeltery per one. I would say it's not going to take up that much extra resource, especially considering it's dust, sand and gravel, something we're now getting in abundance. So I will probably build those smelteries off camera, simply because they are a bit tedious to build. I will keep the wiring on camera though, because that's something that is potentially interesting to see. So the next thing I want to get done today is Inferium plants. So our mob farm was producing this Inferium, and we need it to make everything in mystical agriculture. So we can now start growing it thanks to mystical agriculture. But we are going to need an awful lot of it. The mob farm will carry on providing it. That will start growing it, and as you may have seen there, it said tier 1, as there are 5 tiers to these essence plants. So these will drop 1 piece of essence each. We can level up the Inferium using an infusion crystal to get to Prudentium essence, and then 8 of those around a seed. 8 of those around an Inferium seed will give us a tier 2, and then you can make tier 3s and tier 4s and so on into tier 5. So it costs an awful lot of resource to get those parts going, but we also need to start looking at just generating resources via crops. It's by far the fastest way to do it in this part of the game, and you can also start making things that you ordinarily couldn't just grow, or couldn't just sift. So the special metals, for example, like quartz infused iron, you can get seeds for the quartz enriched iron, which require a tier 3 crafting seed, which requires 4 intermedium and a tier 2, which requires 4 Prudentium, and a tier 1, which requires 4 Inferium, and base seeds, which require prosperity shards, which we get from sifting sand. So it is a multi-layered part, and it is a case of just finding which resources you're going to want to target early, getting those, and then building and developing from there. We need to get infusion crystals so we can level up the Inferium essence. Infusion crystals have an amount of uses. There are master crystals as well, but that requires killing the wither boss, which we're a very long way from doing. So let's get ourselves diamond 4 prosperity shards, as we've got plenty of these now. Just 1, don't need 2. Let's put the netherrack away for a second, and the other prosperity shards downstairs. So that is now going to let me upgrade. Helps to do that. Up to the Prudentium essence tier. So we can start thinking about making level 2 and level 1 seeds really at this point. We've probably got enough that we can look at maybe getting a tier 3 plant, so it really depends on what is going to be the most important. Now, redstone is still something I do not have very much of, so a redstone plant is probably going to be the best thing for me to look at first, which is a tier 3. So let's start with getting 4 bits of redstone out, which I know I'll need. And just get the rest of our inferium for now. And let's take it all the way back to base crafting seeds. So we're only going to need 1 of these. In fact, let's try and make 2. If we can make 2, that would be great. And then to get those up, those. So you can see how quickly you can go through the inferium. It's now to make enough for the level 3. Takes an entire stack of inferium just to make 1 thing, and we need another 4 pieces of inferium just to make this into 1 part. So yeah, we haven't got enough to make 2 things for the redstone just yet. Oh, nice, we've got some more redstone there. So I've been compressing the loot bags down just to help reduce the amount of space they take up. We got 1 legendary loot bag, which you may see on the side. I've got diamond boots that came out of that, as well as magma slime crystals and a magic bean, which we'll explore later. I don't really know too much about random things, so we'll learn about that one together. Okay, so that's our 4 intermedium essence. Around that, and around that gives us our redstone seed. So that's our first mystical crop. So we can place that down, and that will start growing, and that will give redstone essence. So not redstone itself, but the essence, which we can then put together to make into redstone. So we're going to want to automate gathering the crops at some stage. That's a ways down the line, but at least for now that's going to be something that is going to help alleviate the redstone issue. We'll look at getting a farmer, or an Ender IO farm. There's farming station, that's the one. That is going to require actually manually killing a zombie to get the head, and then pulsating materials, which we've seen before, an electrical steel, which is silicon, coal and iron. So it's not too difficult to get everything together for that. The most difficult is going to be the zombie head, Solarium, Soulsand and gold ingot. So you can see why I really wanted to start getting Soulsand automated if it's all possible. What we are going to want to do as well is start bringing the resources over from here automatically if possible. So much of this we have in the storage drawers anyway, but it's going to be a case of bringing it over in a pipe, as we don't have blaze rods, so we're not getting ender chests anytime soon, and that'll have to come over to like over here where we're going to be putting a draw controller. I'd say we might put a slave like on the outside edge so it doesn't have to come completely all the way. We'll see how that part goes. Oh, that's one other thing that I did to this. I was speaking about the upgrades when we talked about the storage drawers before. I've put void upgrades on the flint and gravel, as otherwise these were starting to fill far more than they should and overflowing into the compressor. So I dealt with that by putting void upgrade on it, and then just making it so these machines were prioritised over these drawers. So I can put another bit of sand in there for now. I'm not too worried about the mushrooms at this stage because we'll have a way of getting them. So I'll take a couple for now that I can put into the drawers to hold their place, but I've got no particular use for them at this stage. So there we go. Nice with the prosperity shards and the Imperium away, and the regular seeds. See, if we have a drawer controller, I won't have to click everything individually. Right, so that's good. So I can put the drawer controller on top of this, and then the slave underneath that things will pipe into, and that'll let us just push things automatically into it. That might be pretty good. Yeah, let's do that. Although, one thing I'm not a big fan of is that I have actually ended up putting this directly in between where I want to put my controller. I think I'm going to need to think about this off camera, work out exactly how I want to lay this part out, because it will impact things if this is connected to that, and I did want it in the centre of the room. Don't really want to have to move all of this forwards 2 blocks, but that may be the way it comes to it. So we'll leave it there for now. We'll come back, you can see how I managed to do that. I'll get the Soulsand off camera, probably do some sifting of that to get the quartz, and then we can look at how it's all going to go together later. So thanks again for watching. I've been Monkey Thief 86, and tune in next time.